living astrologically is looking at your chart and knowing the strengths and weaknesses that you possess in your chart so that you can try to exhibit the best parts of them as often as possible. But it is also the understanding that you are going to get exactly what was written for you anyway, whether you wanted to or not. Good morning. Going to do something a little different here than my normal sit down and explain. Let's go take a walk outside for a second here. Oh, naturally, it would be a bad idea to come outside in a full robe knowing that it's 400 degrees in the south outside. What time is it? At 8:10 in the morning. Jesus Christ. I'm doing something. This is part of my reflections because one, I don't have the schedule or the ability to maintain a schedule to put out kind of videos where I'm constantly editing them. And that's because I'm a mother of four. It can get a little hectic trying to keep up with a regular schedule. So I know that I'm going to have to do like reflections of this sort so that I can at least stay consistent enough to make me feel like I'm actually doing something. But also because my reflections are, wow, that's a spider. That's an invisible spider web. I'm going to be mindful about me walking back here. And I haven't really done something like this in quite some time. I've sort of started getting used to just creating scripts so that I can have something to follow and structure my communication. This is part of what the reflection of what I would like to share is living astrologically. And part of living astrologically is knowing two things. One, you can be very much aware of what you're experiencing based off of the placements in your chart, but also that is a child. Okay, I had to cut my video for a second as my children tried to follow me out here. So you see, already it is quite difficult just to get something recorded. I usually have to forego even having mornings and staying up all night just to get things done. But going back to what I was saying about living astrologically is looking at your chart and knowing the strengths and weaknesses that you possess in your chart so that you can try to exhibit the best parts of them as often as possible. But it is also the understanding that you are going to get exactly what was written for you anyway, whether you wanted to or not. So, like, prime example, when I am speaking, which is why I do my Capricorn in the third house thing and started actually writing out what my scripts are so that I can keep track of what I'm saying and try to record it in a more structured way, that because the Chiron in Gemini has me doing this where I'm like, what am I saying next? Or if I say a word, I can't tell you how many times I have to re-record videos because I will mess up a word. Oh my God, I'm getting attacked by mosquitoes. This was such a bad idea. Why would I come out here? Why is it this hot at 8 in the morning? And don't mosquitoes have anything better else to do? Maybe if I get off of the grassiest areas. Please don't follow me. Why do they love me? So part of understanding how to live astrologically is holding both those truths at once. Is that one, you are going to look at your chart and you're going to go, okay, this is what I can do to optimize myself as a human being, but also I also have no control over this either, and I'm going to get what's written for me. I have, okay, so the easiest things to do to live according to your chart is, of course, well, I would say that the easiest things to do is not to pay attention to your angles. I think that paying attention to your angles is, okay, go back in the house. Paying attention to your angles is the part of you that you're going to get that energy of understanding, like, I have no control over this, because your angles, which is your first, your fourth, and 10th and 7th house, your ascendant, descendant, IC, MC, these deal with other people. So you don't always have control over how, like, for instance, you project yourself in the first house, because how you project in your behavior, it depends on how people receive that. And you can't always control your seventh house or how you can exhibit it to the best of your abilities, because you are dealing with a partner, or with the courts, or with some contract or business partner, or whatever the case is. So you have a little less control over how you can exhibit yourself based off of what you're receiving for the other person. And then the same thing goes with the fourth house. This is your family. So how you exhibit yourself is really, the energy is coming through from the fact that your family is showing how you have Aries in the fourth, or your family is setting the groundwork in the environment for how you have Sagittarius in the fourth house. Like if you have a big family, or you live in a big house, like these things that you grew up with that you didn't have any control, and thus your behavior is based off of the outside parts of yourself. And the same with the career. You can have Pisces in the 10th cusp, and you can have like a spiritual career, or you can be in medicine, or at the, promoted at the top of the chain when it comes to hospitals, or whatever the case may be, or even working in nightclubs. But again, this is the public, so how you exhibit that Pisces will also depend on the environment that you're in, because you're out in public. 10th house. So like I said, so looking at your own chart for how can I optimize myself, I would probably not focus on the first, fourth, seventh, and 10th house. Like that would be like the hardest thing you have to do, because like I said, you would be doing that with others. And if you aren't prepared for that, or you have it in your mind that, I have Libra in the seventh house, so I'm always going to be agreeable, I'm going to try to make sure everything is balanced. Like, yeah, kind of good luck with that. That's part of the lesson of having it in the seventh house, so that you also learn through the way that you project yourself, first house, how to get along with others. And that may not always work. And then, of course, planetary placements and aspects and such and so forth can negate a lot of these things, or change them, alter and color them. Places that I would actually work with, and maybe you can do the fourth house with this, because the fourth house it is the northern hemisphere of your chart. So it is a little bit more isolated than, say, the other three placements, right? Because I would start necessarily with maybe your cadent and succedent houses. So when it comes to your second house, like dealing with your morals and your values, yes, it would have to do with your money, but focusing on like how to optimize yourself, I would focus on the actual morality of yourself. Like, what kind of morals are you trying to gain, change, alter, exhibit, and really focusing on that. And then like your mind. So the third house, like really getting into how you think, because all of that will lead into how you project and how you work and how you deal with your family and stuff. And the reason why I said maybe also the fourth house, now that this is why I have scripted videos, the fourth house, because that can deal with your emotions. Now, I would probably look more towards the moon, but you could deal with like fourth house shit too, as to dealing with, this is how people would talk about them, dealing with generational curses. Then they're going to their fourth house and they're working with their eighth and 12th house to do that. That's another video. Okay. This is not scripted. Okay. So to live, like I said, so going back into like living astrologically, I would focus on looking at the chart to optimize one's thinking, one's morals, one's emotions, things that aren't publicly outside first, and seeing how you can exhibit the best, but also understanding that things are out of your control. So for example, because I use me as an example, it's the easiest thing to do, bear with me, but I have a third house stellium in Capricorn, right? The issue, the problem, the good thing with that is that I can make a lot of my ideas and what I think take form, right? I can actually put them into practice. I can plan them out, structured, scripted videos, because Neptune is there too, right? In my third house. So scripted videos, structured videos that I write out would be Neptune the third in Capricorn. Y'all can take that if you have the same placement. But I also know that Capricorn is delays and it's disappointments. It is the freaking interruptions that I consistently run into, or not being able to put my ideas out as quickly as I want to, or not have them as structured as I want, or being disappointed in the things that I do put out. To be mindful of those things that are outside of my control. So while I'm living with that, while I'm knowing that I can plan and I can put out, I am also preparing myself for the possible disappointment. So it would be the same thing for anyone else. Like in your daily routines, if you have like an Aquarius in the sixth house, then you are very quick when it comes to how you take care, like efficient. You would be the efficient person, rendered services rendered or received. You'd be the Aquarius in the sixth house. You're very quick to get things done. Somebody says they need something done, you're gonna get it done. Lickety splits. Okay. You are also, you come up with innovative ways to do things in your routine. So you try to find the most efficient way for you to accomplish goals. So people tend to find like that's a fast worker right there. And they got bright ideas to make work even faster, right? The issue is, and things that may be out of your control, is that, well, you can deal with, you can work with, I know when I go into a workplace, I am efficient. I know how to work quickly. I can use that to my advantage, while also understanding that what's outside of your control is changing jobs quickly, or losing a job suddenly, or someone kind of being repulsed by the way that you work, not liking it for some reason. Because Aquarius is also repulsion. It's also, because that's weird. Like, I think you weird. People think you weird in the workplace or whatever the case is. And you can work around that by being efficient and being quick and being innovative. So as long as you maintain that good side, you kind of balance out perhaps or negate perhaps the negative aspects of that. So all in all, to say that to live astrologically is to be aware of where you can optimize yourself, and also being aware of where you have no control and being okay with that. That's the big thing. You shoot for trying to be the best of what your placements indicate, but also recognizing that you're not always going to succeed, but not letting that deter you, or to say, well, I'm doing everything to the best of my abilities according to what my charts say. This stuff ain't working, yada, yada. Well, it means a million other things too. And you have to be mindful of those things so that you can stay on the spectrum that's always pushing towards the preferred versus the least preferred. So that's my reflection for today. And also giving the idea of what it's like when I just reflect off the top of my head and it's not scripted. Some people may prefer this, which is, it's kind of cool. I'll have structured stuff and I'll have unstructured stuff. I'm also working on trying not to curse so much lately. I don't know how long that's going to last. I might just be in a mood. Anyway, peace. Think like Saturn, live like Jupiter.